On today's episode, we're putting in a Vancillary overcab shelf. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Matt here for AVC and welcome back to the shop. Now, as we said in the intro, we are going to be putting in a overcab headliner shelf and we're using the Vancillary brackets. Now, if you're not familiar with Vancillary, they build a couple of very simple items for your van conversion. And one of my favorite products of theirs is this overcab shelf bracket. Now, instead of sending you a whole big shelf and charging you a lot of shipping, they send you just the brackets that are going to insert over the cab here and then button up to your shelf. They send you a full-size paper pattern so you can cut your own shelf from this pattern, and they send you all the required hardware to make a successful install. Now on today's episode, we're going to be doing a little bit more custom work to this because I wanted to do something a little bit more special for my van. I've done a bunch of their headliner shelves in the past, and we have like a normal routine for those. We do 1/2-inch Baltic birch, we wrap it in headliner material or in the same light gray material that kind of matches the overcab shelf here, and everything works out really great. I want to do a little bit extra this time and do something with some cork underneath, kind of as an homage to my father. He had a cork headliner in his camper van that I grew up camping in, and so I thought it'd be a cool thing to do that in my van and be able to keep some keepsakes up here for our family. In today's episode, we're going to be cutting the pattern on the CNC. We're going to be cutting a 1/2-inch front piece here that's going to stiffen up the front of this to make the complete span. We did a 1/4-inch shelf above, and then we added this 1/2-inch solid cork on the bottom. So we're going to be putting all of these items together, and then we're going to be installing them here in the van. Let's get to work. Before we get this shelf installed, there's a couple things about the Vancillary shelf that I really like. First of all, it ships really small because their kit is basically just the brackets, a paper pattern, and the hardware included. The paper pattern makes it really easy for you to build your own shelf at home, and it gives you the opportunity to customize that shelf. So in the past, we've done just our straight up 1/2-inch Baltic birch plywood with the lip on the front to kind of keep some of our stuff in place. But this time I opted for a little bit more custom. So growing up, my dad had a cork headliner in his van, and I always remember him having like race tickets, concert tickets, little things from like our travels around pinned to that cork headliner up above his cab. And I thought this would be a really cool way to kind of reminisce on that one for me. So I did a 1/2-inch layer of solid cork inside. Then I did a 1/4-inch layer of Baltic birch. And then I did the same lip here at the front. So that still terminates into the front 1/2-inch section, and that gives it rigidity across this long span. But I offset that lip with a 1/2-inch gap here so I could put in this 1/2-inch cork underneath, but then everything is still nice and flush. We added a nice 1/4-inch pad to the front of this, so if I do bonk my head on there, it's still padded and I'm not gonna hit my head or anything like that, or it's not gonna hurt if I do. And then the top of it is still, you know, totally fabric and everything like that, so it'll blend in to the headliner. Everything's gonna be nice and quiet up here, and I think this is gonna be a pretty cool custom job. So our first step for installing this Vancillary overcab shelf is installing the bracket in place up here. So the bracket has like a little rise to it, and that is going to face up here, and it's going to get sandwiched in between the headliner and the handle for our overcab shelf right here. And the reason we need that little bit of rise is we need that shelf to be above the top of our sunglass area here. So let's go ahead and pull the 2 bolts that are in this, and we'll sandwich this bracket in place, and then we can mark out our holes on our shelf. So there's 2 different size bolts that hold these in. The one here in the back is the larger, and that is an 8mm. The one up here in the front is a 7mm. Don't ask me why Ford did this. They did it to keep you on your toes, I guess. So then this just pulls down. This goes in place here. And back up. So for this first step, we don't need to get them super tight in there. We just need them in place so we can mark the holes. With both of our brackets in place, we can test fit our shelf, and then we can mark these 3 holes so we can drill that stuff out and get all the hardware in place. So putting this thing in, it's a little tight going past these Go-Code blobs, but once it's in place, totally perfect placement. Really happy with everything there. So let's grab a Sharpie and mark these holes. All right, I'll mark from front. And I'll go here. I'll go into the back. And then we'll go to the other side. Cool. Behind the sunglass boxes here, if you pull those out, you can see that hole right there in the center. That is a nice one to put in because it kind of locks the two together. So we're going to go ahead and mark that as well. Let's take this out and I'll meet you at the table. So Vancillary provides all the hardware you need to put a normal 1/2 inch shelf together. But since we customized this, we now have a 3/4 inch thick shelf, and the hardware that they provide is going to be right on the cusp of working. You can see we have just a little bit of overlap here. That's without the bracket in place, which means I think this is going to be a little bit too short. So we just grabbed some 1/4-20s out of the box here in the shop. They're a little bit longer, and that should be just fine. We're going to drill all these out to a 1/4-20, and then we're going to end up drilling the Vancillary bracket out a little bit as well to a 1/4-20, and that'll make assembly go a little bit smoother. So I went to drill these out, and hey, check this out. It's already sized for a 1/4-20. So I don't have to drill the brackets, which means I don't have to take them out of the van again, which is awesome. I'll see you back in the van. So since I'm adding my own hardware, I grabbed this. This is a sidewalk bolt or an elevator bolt. It's just a really low profile head here. And I thought this would be nice for the center of the shelf, so I don't have like a big button head or anything like that sticking up. But it looks like it's going to be just the right size for inside here. Okay, that's on there. Right. So at this point, all of my bolts are started, and I just want to make sure I get this bracket seated properly. It looks like the back was seated fine, but this front one is not quite in there. So I'm going to use a socket wrench underneath, and I'm going to use an open-end box wrench up on top, because that back bolt is really close to the headliner, so it's tough to get the right tool on it. This one here in the middle. Now with those last bolts in, this headliner shelf is ready for the road. Now you might be wondering why we would want a headliner shelf in our van, and the big reason I put one in is so I can store all of my Van Essentials shades up here. It's a good spot to have all the window shades for the front of the van in one spot. I can store everything up here. I can also store some longer items. I usually put the arm for my awning. That can live up here. I usually have like a BB gun or a blow dart gun up there. We got tissues for the kids up here for sure. You know, all those kinds of things. It's just like a nice big spot that's easily accessible from the front of the van here. So the big reason I wanted to put cork on this one is so that I can put some keepsakes and kind of memories from the road. So I can take a picture of my family and I can pin that up here, which is a pretty cool one. I also like to collect little souvenir pins from our road trips. This one was from our trip up the 101 along California and the Oregon coast. So that's another cool one I can kind of stick up here. And it's just a nice little place to keep some mementos up here and be able to reminisce on them as we drive along on the highway. Now, this is just one episode in our build series. We are building our 2025 show vehicle. So if you want to follow along with every episode, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button so your friends can find this video too. If you're looking to get a van professionally built by AVC, there is a link in the description below. Go ahead and use that and our team will get your project started. Now is the time in the video that I want to hear from you. I built this shelf as kind of an homage to my father and to keep some keepsakes for my family. This is a custom one, so I want to hear what your ideas would be for a custom headliner shelf that you would put in your van. Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to see your thoughts. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button so others can find it. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.